Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 strongest characters of all time. For this list, we're looking at characters who have demonstrated outstanding physical strength, not necessarily the strongest superpowers. And due to that pesky omnipotence factor, we'll be avoiding characters from myth, legend, or religion. Did your favorite not make the list? Let us know whose pythons you think are the sickest in the comments. Number 20, Kratos. But Kratos killed like most of the Greek gods, you say. How can he be this low on the list? In the God of War games, there's no doubt that Kratos is superhumanly strong. Just look at this shot of him heroically not being squished between a Titan's fingers. In fairness, that is just the fingertips.
Kratos, death will not be a gentle one.
When Kratos gets around to actually killing a Titan, his go-to tactic is climbing around and stabbing them in the squishy parts. That says less direct match for a god and more very ambitious mosquito. Still, there aren't a lot of mosquitoes that can toss giant logs, punch a dude through a forest, or do this to the Hydra. There's no question that Kratos has earned his spot in the Super Strength Hall of Fame. Number 19, Luke Cage.
I'm just getting started.
If this was a durability list, Luke Cage would be much closer to the top. His famously impenetrable skin can turn away knives, bullets, and even hits from Iron Man or Thor. It also gives him a level of strength that puts your average bodybuilder to shame. He may not be the strongest person on this list, but Luke occupies a spot on the scale where you get to do all the cool stuff like wreck construction equipment and rip through steel chains with your bare hands. Not enough? How about this? He once carried a semi-truck 7 blocks on his shoulders because it wouldn't start. Number 18, Mr. Incredible. When Mr. Incredible needs a training montage, regular weights just won't cut it. Apparently, he heads down to the local rail yard and starts bench pressing train cars. That's a lot of weight to lift just to make a pun on training. As for Mr. Incredible, that's just a warm-up. In The Incredibles, we see him wrestle giant robots, change the course of battleship-sized vehicles, and wreck tons of household objects just by being absent-minded.
Oh, great.
His maximum strength isn't quite enough to get out of Syndrome's traps without help, and he's not quite as unstoppable as other heroes on our list. But Mr. Incredible is still a solid contender for strongest man in his world. Number 17, SpiderMan. After being bitten by a radioactive spider, scrawny teenager Peter Parker transforms into an absolute tank overnight.
Is he strong? Listen, bud. He's got radioactive blood.
Sure, he continues to be plagued by teenage problems, but now he can lift a car. Actually, he can lift a lot more. We've seen Spider-Man catch falling cable cars, stop runaway trains, even lift the weight of entire collapsing buildings. According to his files, he supposedly has the proportional strength of a spider. But when he's under pressure and lives are on the line, Spider-Man has proven himself capable of much, much more. Whether it's his adrenal glands working overtime or just great power coming with all that responsibility, Spider-Man stacks up somewhere in the middle weights, even in a universe full of superhumans.
But I can't shake these drones!
Number 16, Mario. So what's the big deal? Mario can punch through a brick block. Real-life martial artists can do that. But can they do it once every few seconds for as long as it takes to beat the game? Now that's special. Then again, we're not ranking characters on endurance. What else you got, Mario? Oh, you can also lift a castle and dropkick it like it's nothing? And swing a truck-sized turtle around by the tail? You can also launch asteroids like cannonballs? Okay, point taken. Mario is the ultimate example of how looks can be deceiving. He might look like an out-of-shape plumber, but you should never underestimate someone who can drive stakes into the ground with nothing but a well-placed butt stomp. Number 15. Shazam.
Shazam?
Okay, seriously, did someone mix a bunch of prank entries into this list? First Mario, now this literal child? What, does he just say a magic word and then suddenly he can lift a bus? Okay, yes, apparently that is exactly what happens.
I got the bus! I got the bus! Nobody move there! Oh, I gotta put this thing down, I gotta put this thing down!
Originally called Captain Marvel, these days he goes by Shazam to avoid confusion with certain other heroes. Billy Batson's superhero identity can punch through mountains, rip through steel, and, maybe most impressive of all, fight Superman to a standstill. To be fair, Superman is vulnerable to magic, so that might be what gives Shazam the edge. But anyone who can take on the Man of Steel is a force to be reckoned with. Number 14. All Might. By the time we first meet All Might on My Hero Academia, he's getting old. Injured and infirm, he can't use his powers for very long stretches of time without making things even worse. So how strong can he possibly be? Well, there's the time he punched a monster into space despite its shock absorption powers. Or the time he hit a guy so hard it changed the air pressure and made it rain. That's not even the half of it. All Might is so jacked he can use his muscular strength as a ranged weapon. The sheer wind from his punches and kicks can topple enemies, level buildings, and even cause tornadoes. If he wasn't such a good guy, All Might would be a one-man natural disaster. Number 13. The Thing.
Gotta say, it's fantastic.
If All Might is a human hurricane, then Ben Grimm must be a landslide. No, that's not just a pun on his craggy countenance. He's got all the power to back it up and more. Consistently shown as just below the Hulk in raw physical force, Fantastic Four's The Thing has managed to clobber the Jade Giant on 1 or 2 occasions, but just barely. Even so, he's lifted skyscrapers, oil rigs, and even replaced the cables of suspension bridges all by his lonesome. And whether it's all that weight training or the ongoing effects of his cosmic ray-induced mutation, he seems to be getting stronger over time. Who knows, maybe the Hulk has some competition. Number 12. Godzilla. Godzilla earns a spot on this list based on size alone. He's big enough to topple skyscrapers like Jenga towers. When he gets into a fistfight, cities are left in ruin. When he lifts and throws another kaiju his size, or, simply takes a 90,000-ton step, he's pulling off a feat equal to any of the Thing's major achievements. So why is Godzilla on the list and not some other kaiju? Why not the much larger King Ghidorah? First, Godzilla gets stronger and stronger the more radiation he soaks up, meaning he's got a higher cap on his power. But more importantly, Godzilla has fought King Ghidorah over and over. And every single time, he kicks Ghidorah's gold-scaled butt. Number 11. The Prince of All Cosmos. Okay, seriously, enough with the joke entries. That's clearly just a big ball of stuff rolling around by itself. Wait, what? You're kidding. That little guy is the muscle behind this ever-growing ball of objects? Well, despite often being depicted as only a few inches tall, Katamari's Prince of All Cosmos clearly has some serious power. He starts small, rolling up matchsticks and pencils into his Katamari, but once he gets going, he will pick up people, buildings, or even kaiju. He's known to incorporate small landmasses into his Katamari. Before long, he's pushing around a sphere that's hundreds of feet in diameter. It's truly a sight to behold. Not bad for a little guy. Number 10. Asura. You can probably tell from the title Asura's Wrath that the title character is not what you'd call a chill guy. In fact, as the game goes on, he just gets madder and madder. And as he does, he gets stronger. As Asura cycles through various power-up forms, he goes from strong enough to break mountains, to punching asteroid-sized monsters in half, to punching a being roughly the size of the Earth so hard it literally explodes. And that's not even his final form. The only reason he's not higher up on this list is that his more powerful forms might be violating the no omnipotence rule. Number 9. Hercules.
I haven't had this much fun battling bird beasts since I saved Prometheus from that liver-eating vulture.
Hold on. Wasn't there a rule about mythological characters? Well, yes, but there is a loophole. It's not mythology when it's the comic book version of the character. Besides, the Greek myth version of Hercules arguably never came close to the feats of the Marvel version. This god and hero has towed the island of Manhattan across New York Bay and broken the Silver Surfer's supposedly unbreakable board. Maybe most impressively, he's held up the heavens themselves to give Atlas a break. How heavy is this guy? We're not sure if there's an appropriate unit of measurement, but it's safe to say it's pretty impressive.
Come on, deep down you admire me, I know it.
Number 8. Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman's strength hasn't exactly been consistent. Since the 40s, she's been depicted as moving islands with ease or having trouble lifting a tank. But when she's strong, boy is she ever strong. She has overpowered the whole Justice League, admittedly minus Superman, pulled Martian Manhunter out of a black hole, and stood her ground against Doomsday, the monster that killed Superman. Wonder Woman even single-handedly towed the moon out of orbit without even breaking a sweat. The only consistent answer to how strong she is seems to be almost as strong as Superman. Like Shazam, she's beaten him in more than one fight, making up for the difference in raw power with her magic weapons and superior training. Number 7. Thanos. You might think that having Thanos on this list is cheating. His most impressive feats are done with the help of the Infinity Gauntlet, which clearly lets him manipulate the fabric of reality. But even without the gauntlet, Thanos gives Marvel's mightiest heroes a run for their money. Case in point, he is consistently able to go toe-to-toe with the Hulk, which is sort of the gold standard for being considered one of Marvel's top tier in strength. He's by no means stronger than Marvel's mighty Rage Beast, but he can hold his own. Of course, he has the advantage of fighting intelligently against Hulk's berserker style, which does sometimes translate to a win. Either way, Thanos has more than earned his place. Number 6. Thor. The mighty Thor. They couldn't call him that if it wasn't true. And there's more to Thor than a fancy hammer and a bunch of lightning. His official ranking in the Marvel Universe puts him just below the Hulk in pure lifting power. And while he might disagree about who's the strongest Avenger, number 2 is nothing to sneeze at. Even without the help of Mjolnir, he's held shattered moons together, thrown around a serpent the size of the Earth, and resisted the gravity of a neutron star. When he arm-wrestled his rival Hercules, the sheer force of their struggle was enough to tear apart a mountain plateau. Honestly, at this point, mighty might be underselling it. Number 5. Unicron. Unicron is a planet in the Transformers universe. Also, he's a robot. What does he eat? Other planets. And he does it by dragging them into his orbit and shredding them up with his terrifying giant robo-teeth. Much like Godzilla, Unicron would have made this list even if he did little else. Every time he lifts a hand to scratch his nose, he's moving more strength than Kratos and SpiderMan put together. Ripping chunks out of a planet is his equivalent of eating a sandwich. With Unicron, we've entered a part of the list full of characters who are so strong, it's hard for us mere mortals to even comprehend the amount of power they can put out. Number 4, the Incredible Hulk. There's a reason we keep comparing the other characters on this list to the Hulk.
And Hulk. Smash.
He sets a bar for strength that few heroes can ever hope to live up to. She-Hulk, The Thing, Abomination, they all wish they could get on Banner's level. So how does he do it? Simple. The madder Hulk gets, the stronger he gets. And he gets pretty mad. We've seen the Hulk throw temper tantrums that single-handedly beat down every other Marvel hero, sometimes all at once. He's beaten up everyone from Thor to Fin Fang Foom to Galactus himself.
I always bet on green.
At his peak, Worldbreaker Hulk causes earthquakes when he walks and shatters planets with the sheer force of his fists. Number 3, Saitama. Now, some people are going to be mad that Saitama's not number 1 on this list. Because, as the name One Punch Man says, he defeats any opponent he faces with one punch. How can that not shoot him straight to the top? But in terms of raw strength, Saitama hasn't technically proven himself the equal of even the Hulk. No, it's not Saitama's feats of strength that get him this high on the list. It's the way he does them. So casually. Like he's not even trying that hard as he stops an asteroid or beats up a seemingly unstoppable monster. Makes you wonder, if this is him when he's bored, what would putting in actual effort look like?
必殺マジシリーズマジ殴り
Number 2, Goku. The Dragon Ball Z universe is full of overpowered characters like Zeno and Beerus, but as actual gods, their powers violate the omnipotence rule. Goku, on the other hand, is to anime what the Hulk is to superheroes. He's the yardstick by which all other examples of strength are compared. Sure, sometimes he meets an enemy stronger than him, but only until he screams enough to multiply his power with the next Super Saiyan level. It's hard to say exactly how strong that makes him since he's usually fighting enemies strong enough to balance it out. But based on the sheer number of unfathomably powerful characters he has beaten, not to mention the planets they've blown up along the way, it's safe to say he belongs near the top. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, Superman. This is gonna be controversial. The argument over whether Superman is stronger than Goku has been raging for years. To be fair, Superman as we know him today probably isn't. He can still move continents and push planets, sure, but before DC Comics nerfed him and his cousin Supergirl with the Crisis on Infinite Earths, Superman was in a totally different league. Here he is towing a dozen Earth-sized planets on a chain as a teenager. That alone matches any character on this list. But there's more. In Action Comics number 273, he destroyed an entire solar system in seconds by sneezing. Good thing he picked up an empty corner of space. Pulling off a feat like that by accident is exactly how you become the strongest character of all time. Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.